This is, I believe, page 211 in your books. Alrighty, you are going to get 3 marks here. 2 for the algebra, 1 for the graph. If I'm doing X and Y intercepts, what are they again? X0 and 0y. So I sub in. If y is 0, what happens to that 5? It disappears. So I have 2x minus 8 equals 0. 2x equals 8. X equals 4. Should I put that on my graph now? Yes or no? No, why not?
There's no x-axis, no intercept.
No, that is the x-intercept. Why should I not put it on my graph right now?
Because there's not the y-intercept yet.
I don't have a y-intercept, and I might need to change the scale, yes? So the y-intercept, now x is 0. So what happens to that 2? Disappears. So I have 5x minus 8 equals 0. 5x equals 8. X.
That's 5y.
Ah, yes, thank you. 5y. Y equals 8/5. If you have all that, you get 2 marks. Now graph it. 4 is no problem, correct? But 8/5, what does that mean? Well, it means one of 2 things. I have to change at least one scale, don't I? If I change the y scale to fifths, then to get out to 4, I would have to go out 20, wouldn't I? Can I do that? No. So I cannot change the x scale. So I write 1 on the x scale, so I know I'm going out by 1s. And on the y scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I put my 1 there. Is everybody with me? So that is 5/5, correct? I need to get to 8/5. So how many more squares on the y-axis? This is 5/5. I need to get to 8/5. So how many more squares? I see your hand. I am hoping that one of my other 20 students in here can figure it out. And yet nobody is saying anything. Still not. I'm at 5/5. I need to get to 8/5. Thank you. That was a real poser. I'm sorry. I don't like to give you that too difficult a question on a Friday. Where do I go on the x scale? 4 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, that line is correct. Listen to me carefully. What if I asked you to find the slope? Would it be 8/4? No. Because this is not 8, is it? This is 8/5. So the slope would be 8/5 divided by 4, which would be 8/20. I didn't ask you to find the slope. I am just using this as a teachable moment. Just because it's on the graph doesn't always mean that you can count it to find the slope, because slope is rise over run. You may want to add that little nugget to this as notes, because I know, because I've given the test on graphing about 100,000 times, I know that 99,999 times most kids just count. Okay? So that was out of 3. You give yourself what you feel you got. Find this value. What do I have there? I have an x, a y, an x, a y, and a slope, which is m. So what am I going to use?
M equal y2 negative.
M, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. What goes where?
Y goes to y2
y
plus 2.
plus 2. Why is it plus 2? I can see right there it says negative 2. Why am I writing plus 2 here?
There's y negative there too. So
Right. Minus a negative is addition. And the x's,
2 plus 3.
and what goes in for slope?
6 over 5.
Hey, Mr. Morrison.
Hey, looking for your peer tutor.
I haven't had that peer tutor in a long time. Kelvin?
Do you know where he went?
He stopped peer tutoring for me to pick up his grades in a few other classes.
Okay.
But we left him in here in case, huh? Yeah.
So he's supposed to be here.
No.
Technically.
Technically, yes, but I have relinquished it so he could keep up on other classes. Simplify that to 5. 6 over 5 equals y plus 2 over 5. What do you do every single time you have fraction equals something? Cross. 6 times 5 is what?
13.
30 equals
5y
5y plus
10.
10. Solve it. 20 equals 5y. Y equals 4. All of that is worth 2 marks. You decide how much of it you get. If you use the right form, automatically give yourself a half a mark. If you put some of the x's and the y's in the right place, automatically give yourself 1 out of 2. If you put them all in the right place, give yourself 1.5 out of 2. I see your hand, Aiden. If you actually did the math correctly and got the right answer, give yourself 2 out of 2. Yes.
What if I did a different kind of math but got the same answer?
What different kind of math could you have done?
I did a different thing where I noticed that the x for negative 3 could equal 2. I just took the 5, which was wrong.
I see what you did. You just did the change in x's and saw it was 5.
Yeah. And
Yep.
I did the change from negative 2 in the same way, so I ended up.
It's exactly what this is. That's why this works.
It just worked.
Yes. If that's the way you want to do it, that's fine. Making that page out of 5. This page does, this question is difficult. Notice how I've said use the graph if you need to. But you shouldn't need to. What do you know when I say the lines are perpendicular? What do you know about their slopes?
They're like
They're exactly,
Right. So what do you know about their slopes?
they're exactly opposite.
Opposite and reciprocal. What else do you know about the lines? They intersect on the x-axis. So what does that mean? They share something. What do they share? An x-intercept, right? So that's the x-intercept. One of the lines is that. So 3x minus 6y equals 12. Can you tell me the x-intercept there? Sure you can. Because the x-intercept is x0, right? So what's going to happen to that y? x0. What happens to that y? It's a 0. So I have 3x equals 12, x equals 4. Now I know the x-intercept of both lines, don't I? Okay. Can I find this slope? Is there a form of the equation that will give me slope? What is it? Y equals mx plus b. Get y by itself. 3x minus 12 equals 6y. 1/2 x minus 2 equals y. What's the slope? 1/2, right? So what's the slope of the other line? What? I heard somebody get half the answer there. -2, right? Because you flip it and you change the sign. So the other line, y equals mx plus b, correct? What's the m? Negative 2. So the other line is y equals negative 2x plus b, correct? What's the only thing missing from here to make it something we can work with? The b is missing, correct? So to find b, I must have to put in an x and a y, right? Do I have an x and a y? I do, don't I? What is it?
X is the 4.
X equals 4. There's an x. 4 comma 0. Is that x and y?
Yeah.
Is that x and y? So can I put them in? 0 equals negative 2 times 4 plus b. 0 equals negative 8 plus b. Get b by itself, move the 8 over. B equals 8. Is there a b written somewhere? Right there. So what do I write there?
Y equals negative 2x plus 8.
Y equals negative 2x plus 8. That is out of 3 marks. You decide how much you get. Is there more than one way to solve this? Sure there is, because we could have used the graph, right? If I take the first line, this guy right here, right? We know that it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the y's, it's, negative 2, correct? So I could draw that line, which has a slope of positive 1/2, which means the other line must go through there and have a slope of negative 2, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. There's the y-intercept of positive 8 with a slope of negative 2. Do I care which way you solve these problems? But you have to be able to do one of them. Will I provide you with graph paper on your test if you like to graph? Yes. Will I provide you with space to work if you like to do algebra? Yes. Will I provide you with all of these forms? Yes, because they're in your data booklet already. Who has to decide how to do this? You do. And I do not care which way you do it. I have shown you both ways, many versions of both ways. You must decide on one that works for you. Hokey dokley? Hokey dokley. And the last question today, I think. Oh no, there's 2. If AB is parallel to CD, what do I know about the slope of AB and the slope of CD? They are the same. Can I find the slope of AB? Yes, because it is 7 plus 8 over 2 plus 3, which is 15 over 5, which is 3, correct? So all I got to do is check CD, and it has to equal 3, which would be a minus 2 over 1 minus 0, which is 1, correct? Is that fraction equals fraction? What's the number below 3? 1. So it is a minus 2 equals 3. What does a equal? 5. Done. 2 marks. If it's perpendicular, what is this slope going to have to be? What happens when you make a slope perpendicular? 2 things have to happen. What is the first thing? It's going to be opposite, so I've got to change the sign. So this guy's positive, so what's my new sign going to be? Negative. What has to happen to the rise and run? They flip, right? So this is going to be 1 over 3, yeah? Does the other one change?
Yes.
Nope. So now I've got 3a minus 6 equals, what's negative 1 times 1? Negative 1. 3a equals 5. A equals 5 thirds for 2 marks. Is everyone okay with that one? Because that's the one that causes trouble. Everyone cool with it? And now I think we're on the last question. Making that page out of 3, 2, and 2 is 7.
What was the point? Can you say that again, please?
5/3 and 5.
Okay.
And lastly, you get 1 point for the graph. Graph this before you change it. Is there any way for me to prove you graphed it first? No. Why did I ask you to graph it first? Because that allows you to make sure you know how to use point-slope form, right? I can't prove it. That's why this question wouldn't be on a test like this, correct? So, if we are going to graph it first, how many people honestly graphed it first, if they even did it? How many people put it into one of the other forms, then graphed the easier version? That's cool. Proves you can graph. Let's remind you how to do this. What there is the known point?
Plus 4.
-3, +4, right? So I go to -3, 1, 2, 3, +4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I put my dot. What's the slope? -3/4. So down 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 1, 2, 3, left 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's your line. It's not great, but you can handle it. Okay? That gets you 1 point for the graph. Remember, if you graphed it some other way, your y-intercept looks to be about 2, but I'm not 100% sure. Now, change it into all the forms. Is there a right order to change this? No, there isn't. Who decides which one you go to first? You do. Ayaka has said she would like to go to standard form. Is everybody okay with that? Standard form is ax plus by equals c. What do you know about a and b in this form? What must they be? No. A is positive. What else do you know about a and b? Pardon me? No fractions or decimals. Right? So, what I have right now is I have y minus 4 equals -3/4 x plus 3. Right now, I see a lot of problems, don't I? I see a fraction and I see brackets. Are there any brackets in here? So I got to get rid of the brackets and I got to get rid of the fraction. What do you want to get rid of first? Who decides? You do. What do you want to do with this? You want to multiply by 4? Okay. What is the other option?
The bracket.
Get rid of the brackets by doing what? By distributing, correct? Here is why I would recommend distributing. Y minus 4 equals -3/4 x minus 9/4. Now you can quite easily see that you can multiply by 4. If you multiply by 4 first, some of you are going to make the error of canceling this side wrong. Okay? So that's why I recommend this. If I multiply this side by 4, what happens to every single 4? Gone. And I have -3x minus 9. What do I have to do to this side? Multiply by 4. 4y minus 16. Now is this getting real close to this?
Yes.
Just put the x's and the y's together. -3, if that comes over here, it becomes 3x. Plus 4y, bring the 16 over here, it becomes what? Positive. -9 plus 16 is 7. That is standard form. General form, yes sir, ax plus by plus c equals 0. What has to happen to that 7 to get it to general form? You just have to move it. 3x plus 4y minus 7 equals 0. And finally, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Y needs to be by itself, correct? Right now, I have these two. All I got to do is get y by itself. So, 3x plus 4y equals 7. I need y to be by itself, and what is the other thing y needs to be? Coefficient is 1, positive. So I'm going to move that 3. 4y equals negative 3x plus 7. How do I get rid of the 4? Divide by 4. Y equals negative 3/4 x plus 7/4. And that makes sense, because remember in my sketched graph, I said the y-intercept was about 2, right? Is 7/4 about 2? Because 8/4 is 2, right? So I know I did it right. That question's worth 4 marks, 1 for the graph and 3 for everything else, making that page out of 4. 4 and 7 is 11. 11 and 5 is 16, plus 26 is 42. Are less than confident, even though you should feel confident. Are people done the multiple choice up to 11? Everybody? All right, well, let's do that then. That will be helpful. What's the first one? What's the hints in there? The same hints we always have. A slope and a y-intercept. Y equals mx plus b. Where's the slope go? Where's the slope go? M. Where's the y-intercept go? So it is C. As in confident. Right? Because everybody got that correct. Yeah? What are the slope and y-intercept of this line? Well, there's the y-intercept. What is it? -1. Okay. So it has to be A or C. The slope, up, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Positive 4, positive 2. 4/2. 4/2 is what? 2. So the slope is 2. The y-intercept is -1. C. As in confident. Ew, yuck. Mr. Mars, I know how to do it. It's not X's and Y's. Yes, you do. One of these is x2, one of these is x1, one of these is y2, one of these is y1. Which is which? What has to be in the numerator? The y's, correct? So it has to be either q minus y or y minus q. Well, let's check. Q minus y, q minus p, p. Oh, q minus y. Has to be b. You don't even need to go any further, do you? B, as in doing math like a boss. 4. What is the equation of this line? Remember, equations come in 4 forms. You will notice that all 4 of these is slope-intercept. So if you can figure out the slope-intercept here, you know the equation, don't you? So if you can figure out the slope, which goes from there to there, rise. There's my triangle. How far down did I go? One? 2, 4, 6, 8. So I went down -2. How far out did I go? +8. -2/8 is negative 1/4. So that's my slope. What's my y-intercept? Negative 3. My b equals negative 3. So where do I see negative 1/4 for a slope and negative 3 for a b? B. Ooh, toughie. So every answer has to do with x and y intercepts. So I better find the x and y intercepts, right? X-intercept. What happens to the y when I'm looking for the x-intercept? Drops out. 3x minus 12 equals 0. What happens to the x-intercept when I'm looking for the y-intercept? X drops out. Negative 4y minus 12 equals 0. Solve them. 3x equals 12. X equals 4. Negative 4y equals 12. Y equals negative 3. X is 4. Y is negative 3. D. As in done like dinner, because I know what I'm doing. Sweet alliteration. It goes through that point and it has a slope of 3. What form should I use if I have a point and a slope? Point slope form, shouldn't I? Which is y minus 6 equals negative 3, x minus minus 4, which is x plus 4. That's the equation, right? But all those are in what form? Slope intercept. So I got to change this, don't I? Get rid of the brackets, get y by itself. Y minus 6 equals negative 3x minus 12. Bring the 6 over. Y equals negative 3x minus 6. A. What do I know about perpendicular lines? Opposite and reciprocal. Where does slope live in all of these forms? In front of x. Are those opposite reciprocals? No. Are those opposite reciprocals? No, they're reciprocals, they're not opposite. Are those opposite reciprocals? They're opposite, not reciprocal. So it must be D. I need the line perpendicular to this guy through that point. If I know it's perpendicular, what do I know about the slope? It's 1 over 3. Now, do I have a slope and a point? So what form do I use? Point slope form. Y plus 1 equals 1/3 x minus 3. Except those are in slope intercept form. Y plus 1 equals 1/3 x minus 1. Y equals 1/3 x. Bring that 1 over, becomes negative 1 minus 2. D. Oh, nope, sorry, D is negative. B. Didn't see that little negative sneaking in there. Sneaky, yes. What is this equation? Do I have a slope? Do I have a point? So it's point slope form. Y minus 5 equals 2/7 x minus minus 4 plus 4. D. What graph is this? What form is that in? What form is that? Point slope form, which means those are my known points, aren't they? Except what do I have to remember? Is the point on the graph 3, 1? Or is it -3, -1? It's that one. So I need the graph that goes through -3, -1, which is right there. -3, -1. It's the only one that goes through there, so that is C. And I think that's it. Oh no, there's one more. You've seen this already. Perpendicular to that. What number in that blue thing do I need, and what do I need to do to it if it's perpendicular? Opposite and reciprocate. So I've got 1/7. What do I need it to become? -7. That's my new slope. That's my point. So I put it in point slope form. Y plus 7 equals -7 x minus 3. C. And that is worth 11 marks to you. There's 12 minutes. I lie. There's 13 minutes left in class. That should be enough time to get very far done, especially if you didn't done up to 11 and just copied the answers now, which none of you would have done. That's all I'm going to record today. I'll be posting it in a moment.